what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It's
Gets
gross.
the people going.
Well, Hector, here's the game plan. You're gonna bring us 2 absolute martinis. You know how I like them, straight up. And then precisely 7½ minutes after that, you're gonna bring us 2 more. Then 2 more after that every 5 minutes until one of us passes the fuck out.
You got a bad attitude and you don't listen.
Oh, yes. There will be blood.
It is not the violence that sets a man apart. All right, it is the distance that he is prepared to go.
Ever notice how you come across somebody once in a while that you shouldn't have fucked with? That's me.
What the fuck else would you do this job? Cocaine and hookers, my friend.
Welcome to the Max Ordinate podcast. Good morning.
Oh my God.
Max
Good
Ordinate.
morning.
Jeph, how are you?
Fantastic. I'm driving around town in my vehicular on my way to PT.
I feel
Thought
like
I'd
this
drop
is
in.
another reason for people to, I don't want to say hate on us, but give us corrections on how our audio sucks.
Oh, it's going to be horrid on this. That's fine.
So,
I could turn my AC off. That'll be a little less background.
I can't even hear your AC, but I do want to offer up an explanation. You know, I had somebody message me, and it was right after we did, I think, our first episode while I was back in the States. And it said, "Hey, I love the podcast, and I just want you to know that I think I could take the consistent clicking over the shitty audio that you guys had." And I'm like, what the fuck?
I told you it was going to be bad.
What the fuck? So I jump on there and listen to it, right? And so what ended up happening was, you know, we couldn't get the speaker to work the way that we had
Get the mic to work.
and we were having some issues, and we're like, let's just use the computer audio. And I'm like, it'll be fine. And we listened to some playback, and it sounded a little quiet. So what I ended up doing during the video production was increasing the gain. Well, I think I increased the gain so much that it destroyed the audio, and I just can't win. I can't win.
Which really sucks, because that was a great episode. We
It
dove
was.
into like fucking men's health and all kinds of other shit, and it's just I would love to not have a redo, but I'd love to clean up that audio and be able to actually launch that video.
So I can clean up the audio. I can take the gain. I can take the adjustment out that I did. But what's done is done. I mean, what I'm going to do, go back and
So, okay. So if anybody's listening to this episode, if you're an audio guy, you can clean up audio, let us know. We'll send you the file.
So obviously you got a physical therapy appointment coming up. So we're going to keep this one short, but we are going to crank out a bunch of episodes this week to kind of make up for what we missed last week. And, you know, just my time that I was there, you know, I'm back overseas right now. I got another 45 days here. So the issue, you know, if anybody was wondering, is there's just shit for me to do, right? Like, let's not beat around the bush here, right? Things that require physical labor don't happen without Tyler.
Correct. But I found a workaround. I just realized that I have guys that work for me that are willing to go out there.
So some of the range changing, some of the buildings being built, you know, getting laid out to have water installed, you know, just dirt moving, like all of these things, like it required a lot of my time going out there, setting up some anchor points, not just for climbing and rappelling, which we are going to add to some of the courses, but to have anchor points for the guys that are shooting high angle to be able to clip into and feel a little more safe when they're, you know, hanging on, you know, to the top of a cliff shooting down. So there was just a lot of stuff to be done, and it requires a lot of my time. And, you know, it's a good hour and 45-minute drive to the range from, you know, your area. And, you know, I spent a lot of time down in your area. So every morning, wake up, drive to the range. There's 2 hours, right? So I'm leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning, get there at 6, you know, and let's not forget about how many freaking Home Depot runs it would take me in one day just to get a project completed.
Oh yeah,
because I
absolutely.
I don't know what the right word is, but I'm not an efficient contractor. So I'd get what I think I need, go start working, and then I'm like, fuck, I need this, or I didn't buy enough of that, or whatever it was. Back to Home Depot, and then back to the range, and then doing shit, and then fuck, I ran out of paint. Like, you know, so it was just it was a lot of work trying to put effort into the range. So we didn't have a lot of time to do what we wanted in terms of the videos and getting things posted online. But there was an interesting conversation that I had via Instagram direct messages. And so here's what it was, right? This guy, I'm not going to say his name, said he's really enjoying the podcast. I'm looking forward to advice, help getting impacts at matches, right? So he's trying to get better at matches. And as I read more into it, he's like, I'm consistently 8 to 10 points behind the match winner, which is good, right? That's not bad. You know, you're shooting roughly 90% of what the winner's shooting, you know, so there's obviously room for improvement if you want to get to that top spot. But I can see where the difficulty is when you hit that plateau, right? Because you kind of jump through competition in phases as you learn more, right? You go to your first competition and it's just like a fire hose. And then you start to get better, you start to see other techniques people are employing, and like you learn. And then if you're a shooter who can either seek out training or you listen to this podcast, like whatever it is, like you're going to see a massive jump, right? You probably go from like the lower portion of the competitors to middle of the pack, right? And then there's kind of a stagnation, right? For a little bit, you're going to plateau, right? Because you have to still build that experience. Experience is a lot of it. And then there's another jump, right? And now you're starting to improve your mental process, your mental management, eliminating mental mistakes. And then, you know, now you're in that top 10, that top 15. And then there's another plateau, there's another stagnation. So then what else, right? And that's kind of his question right here. He's like, these are club level matches with 8 to 10 stages. I have reduced my mental mistakes drastically over the last year, and that moved me up considerably, which is what I just said, right? You're going to, as your skill improves, you're going to move up, but then you still have areas of weakness, right? And mental management is one of those, your mental process. So as you start to build on that, boom, you're going to jump another level. And I've said this from the beginning, like it's great to have skill, but the mental side of it is equally important. So,
and you're not going to be able to get that mental skill set without actually just going to matches, because you can't teach that in class. You can't teach that at the range. You have to go shoot those matches.
Well, we teach how, we teach the process, right? But you can't teach the experience of applying that mental management, right? So, you know, and kind of like the process is like building good habits, you know, from getting the match, you know, directions. Hey, this is what this stage is. Here's how many targets. Here's the positions, like having a mental process that you go through to prepare, right? That's one aspect of it. And then the other one would be during the actual stage conduct, mental management, mental processing, right? And as you build this skill set, you just get better and better and better at not making mistakes, right? So now the less mistakes that you make, the higher you're going to place, because mental mistakes are yours and yours alone, right? Everybody could have win mistakes, right? But if you've improved your skill to the point where you are getting in a position and you're solid, then you're not having a skill mistake anymore, right? And then when you make a mental mistake, you're the only one that struggled with that. There's a difference between having a hard position where the entire match struggles with that position, and then having a mental mistake where it's only you that caused yourself to have that point loss or whatever happened, right? So just kind of reading his question, you know, he's improved his skill and he's improved his mental management, you know, considerably. Now he still has a little bit of mistakes, but trying to read into what he said and then giving a response. This is all via DM because I like helping people. And we had just had that podcast episode where I'm like, if you message me and I didn't reply, message again, because shit gets lost and I can't find it and I want to help, right? So kind of just looking at, you know, I told him I need more information. I can't just give you a fucking good answer. And all I know is that you have decent skill and you have decent mental management. So I said, I need more information. Mental errors are huge. They cause you, or sorry, mental errors are huge because you control those and minimizing them, keeping points on the board, which sounds like you're doing good. As for the info, can you give me the last 2 to 3 matches? I need total points available and the score associated with those matches. So what I'm looking for from him is I want to know what his hit percentage is, right? I'm trying to identify where can we get better. So the first thing I'm going to look at is what's your hit percentage, okay? And then that will give me an idea of your hit percentage. Then I'd say we need to look at the stages and identify where you score well and why, and where you struggle and why. So now I had him send me not just the match scores, right? But now I want to look at every stage. Send me the match booklet and tell me what your score was on those stages. So now we can start nitpicking and say, okay, all the prone stages, you fucking shoot great. But anytime there's a tripod stage, you get your ass handed to you, right? Where are the anomalies? That's what we're looking for. So if he's scoring 8 to 10 points per stage, but then we have certain stages where we're not hitting his average, then that's the identifier, right? So we got to start looking at, oh, sorry, my nose itches. It's really bad. I think my nose hairs are growing.
It's that change in weather.
It is, dude. So, anyways, going back, you know, I said we need to look at the stages and identify, you know, these anomalies. And then part of that is wind, positions, time, corrections, movement, efficiency. All of these could be a potential point burner, right? So if you kind of look at what I wrote there, wind, well, wind gets everybody, right? Eventually you are going to get got by the wind. It happens to me. It happens to everybody. The idea here is that you learn from that wind issue as fast as possible, right? If the wind's getting you, chances are it's getting other people as well. But who's going to make the correction faster, right? Because it's okay to burn 1 point because you had a bad wind call or the wind did something that you didn't expect. But it's not okay if you keep losing points because it's taking you too long to register what's happening, right? So then positions, are there certain positions that get to you, right? Is it a high kneeling? Is it a low kneeling? Is there positions that just fuck with you? And you're trying to identify how do we improve on that, right? And then I put time and movement efficiency because I feel like those two are correlated together, right? Movement efficiency, recoil management, all of those things. If you have good efficiency, and what I mean by that is, let's say there's a kneeling position, Jeph, and you're going to go over to this position, you're going to set your rifle down. And as you set your rifle down, you drop into a single kneeling position, but your right knee is down. You get your rifle in place, you got your bag on there, everything is set up. But now, instead of just getting into your position, you have to switch legs because you drop down into the wrong position.
Yep.
Instantly, right? So now it takes time to switch those legs. That's not efficient, right? So it's training yourself to be efficient when you drop into that position and you're already set up the way that a proper shooting position should be. So that's what I mean by movement efficiency. And there's other things that could save you time as well, such as recoil management. If you don't have good recoil management, boom, you take a shot, you jump off target, and now you got to come back to the target. And now you're like, fuck, I didn't see where the impact was. Now you're slowing the whole process down, right? So everything that you do is going to either benefit you or take away from you in terms of time.
Yeah, and it's so counterintuitive because you see the top shooters and such as yourself, and it's seamless and it's smooth and all the movements have purpose, but you're not moving fast, but your time reflects that you are. When you see
Yeah.
the guys in the tier lower, they're moving at 100 miles an hour, and they're moving fast, but they're so inefficient that they're moving twice as fast as they're actually moving.
Yeah.
So, again, it goes to that whole, slow it down and make all your movements count, and then, the speed will come in time. But, making those gross movements for no reason, you have to make a second movement, just slows it.
So I used to be like that, right? I knew that I was a fast shooter. I could cycle the bolt really fast and I could look really cool and I could do all this stuff, right? And we get like a 90-second or 2-minute stage and I'd just be trying to rush through the whole stage. And it wasn't until I actually broke everything down and said, why can't I move as slow as this guy over here? He's getting through the stage and he looks smooth. I'm getting through the stage and I look rushed. Why? What's the difference, right? So it's one thing to be that shooter who looks relaxed and moving smooth and moving calm. And it's another thing to be able to take that information and pass it on, right? So you have to be able to break down what happens. You can't just say, well, I'm a good shooter and like experience will come. No. How do we, like, the thing is I don't want to tell people like, well, I've been in the competition circuit for 11 years now, right? Or 12 years or whatever that number is. I think it's over a decade. You just got to wait your time. I don't want to do that, right? Because that means that we're telling everybody that they have to learn from their own mistakes. If we really want them to improve, then we need to be helping them learn from my mistakes, from your mistakes, right? From things that we see. And that's what I love. People think that we're like knocking on some of the videos that we post of other people shooting. I mean, sure, take it however you want. Maybe we are knocking them, but we're also trying to show you what this person's doing so that you can learn from that mistake and improve without having to go through the long-term experience side of it, right? So
exactly.
As I continue this conversation, I told them, I need to see these things. I need to see your previous matches. I need to see each stage. I need to see your score on each stage. And then we can start to break down anomalies. I said, typically 80 to 90% hit percentage at local matches will walk away with the win. So if you're 8 to 10 points behind, we're needing to find out where you're losing 10%. So he's 10% behind the winner. We have to figure out where that 10% is, right? So I'm still working on this whole process right now. It's actually taking me a little bit of time to try and sort through everything and pull things out. So he sent me a match. He said, this match I placed 4th. Round count was 87. I missed 13, 6 on a KYL rack and a floating table, right? So going through all of this stuff, he said 4 were win calls. So that's the kind of data that you need, right? And anybody can do this. This guy just reached out to me. So I decided that I wanted to help. And the best way to help him was to identify where we're weak and how do we get better at it, right? And you know what the other challenge is, Jeph, is once you figure out where am I strong and where am I weak, the challenge is how do I improve the weak without losing the strong, because that happens. You can jump in there and say, oh, damn, I'm not really good. Yeah, I'm not really good at this. I'm going to just focus on this. And then you focus for like 30 days just on this skill set. And then you come back to your strength and it's not your strength anymore, right? Because you let it fall off.
You can overcorrect, right? Like you can spend so much time concentrating on something, being hyper focused on something, and not like we talk about. Yeah, you need to concentrate on skills, but there's still all your basic fundamentals that you have to work on regardless. You can hyper focus on something and lose everything else. It happens all the time.
Yeah. So this is a fun little helping situation for me is to be able to break these things down. And it seems like he's pretty consistent at these things happening. He said that one situation, next match, he had there was 85 points total. The winner shot 73. So that winner dropped 12 points, right? This guy, he shot 60. So he was 13 points behind the winner. 25 points is what he dropped. For the whole match, he dropped 25. So you start looking at you know, where did these losses come from? So he said he had a bad first stage where he was using a ballistic app, and he had the wrong rifle programmed into the app, right? It switched on him, whatever the case was. And, you know, for 2 stages, he had that wrong information in there. Okay. So I kind of look at it as 2 different things. One, it's going to hurt, right? Because it's a mistake, and it's a self-inflicted mistake, right? Nobody did that to you.
Yeah, that's a big one too.
You didn't check your stuff, right? And I could sit here and I can knock it all day, and I can scold you and say like, well, you did it to yourself, dummy. I've done it. Like, you know,
Yeah,
like
so have I.
I've been looking at my phone and I'm like, man, that doesn't seem right, but fuck it, here it goes. And, you know, like you send it. And
No, we all have rifles. You know, I've got rifles with maybe 5 different ammo profiles loaded in. Like, mistakes happen.
yeah. So that is part of mental management, right? So I think as I complete this assessment of him, one of the things will be that there's still an aspect to his mental game that needs improvement. He said he switched. He left the ballistic app, and now he's solely using a Kestrel, which is fine. I like the Kestrel. I have one. I don't use it as often in civilian competitions. I like my phone right there with my ballistic arc data right there, right? But that's part of your process, right? Making sure that at the beginning of the match, you have everything set up, right? So there's still more room for improvement in terms of the mental side. But then also, you know, we talk about having the wrong data. And one of the things I said earlier is there room for improvement on the correction side, right? Seeing your own impact and making an adjustment. So if you have the wrong data plugged into your system, into your software, you take that first shot and you boom, the target's at 400, right? Maybe you're shooting a 6mm and you only needed 1.4 mils. But the ballistic calculator told you that you need 2.3. So you dial 2.3, you shoot, and you're, you know, a mil high. You should have the recoil control, you should have the position, you should have everything set up so that you see that recoil and you make the adjustment. And instead of miss, it is only 1 miss, right? Because you saw where the impact was and you said, holy shit. And you register what happened. Even if you don't know it was a ballistic calculator problem, you register that you have to believe what just happened, right? You have to. You saw the bullet impact and you're like, oh shit. You measure, you make the correction, you hold down 1 mil and you engage, right? So even when mistakes happen, you still got to minimize the you got to minimize the hemorrhaging, right? You're going to hemorrhage a little bit of points, but you need to be able to minimize the effect, right? Shit happens. And how do you adjust when shit happens, right? That's really what it comes down to. And a lot of these things, this is the difference between guys who are in the top 10 and guys that consistently win, is being able to minimize the hemorrhaging, right? Mistakes happen all the time. One of the matches I was at while I was here in the States, you know, I went to 3 different matches and I took 3rd, I took 6th, which by the way, we haven't talked about yet, but I have some information.
We will. We will.
Okay. And then the last match I won, right? So that last match, it wasn't overly difficult. I had a really good time at that match. Out of the entire, 6 stages, I dropped 3. Not bad, right? But at the same time, I was like, damn, I dropped 3, and it was like a mistake over here. I did that to myself. And then a mistake on the rocks. I timed out because I didn't go through the whole process, and I actually didn't follow my plan at the end. And that's what took so much time. I hit the target. I should have cleaned that stage, but I ran out of time. So that right there, me looking at my score and looking at some of the other shooters that are there, the guy who won the day prior was there. Rusty Ulmer was there, all these guys who are really top level shooters. And I'm like, oh shit, if I'm missing these and they're hitting these, I'm in trouble, right? So being able to identify your mistakes, limit the amount of hemorrhaging that's happening, and moving on, right? Every stage, every shot that I took, I was learning. I was making sure, I'm like, okay, the Mirage right now is doing this, and I held this for wind. Boom, I impacted, right? There was another time later in the day where it's me and Russ, we're looking through the binos, through the spotting scope, and we're looking at this target. It's not very far away. I think it's like 400 or 500. And he's like, you see the Mirage? I'm like, yeah. And the Mirage is going left to right. But then somebody took a shot downrange and they missed the target, and the wind, the dust was going right to left, right? So Jeph, in that situation, what's happening? What are you thinking?
I mean,
Mirage
I don't know,
is
right?
going one way.
You
dust is
got
going
two
the other.
different you got two different wind directions. Or, I mean, you know, that's how I would play it. I would just assume I have two different wind directions coming in from one party, and you kind of just have to guess. I mean, or you just hold on target.
So experience told me to go with what I see in the middle, right? So Russ was like, oh, Tyler, it's going right to left down there. I'm like, yeah, it is. So I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I'm like, well, the Mirage is going left to right. The Mirage is in the middle of the range, right? From me to the target, the Mirage is in the middle. The dust blowing right to left is down at the target. So what's going to have more effect? Middle of the range, beginning of the range, or at the target, right? It's definitely not at the target, because the bullet's about to hit the target. How much effect of that different change wind are you going to have, right? So in my head, I said, I'm going to go with what the Mirage says. And I did. And I cleaned that stage, right? It could have gone bad. I could have said, damn, look at that dust down there. It's going right to left. And I could have held right, and it could have screwed me, right? So that's what I mean by learning from every stage, having the mental capacity to make decisions and then go with it, right? And then, you know, again, like the learning, that's a big part of it, right? Because you're going to make a mistake, or you're going to have a miss, right? It's not getting down on yourself, but it's saying, how can I improve on this? How can I make sure that doesn't happen anymore, right? So as I'm evaluating this guy and giving him my feedback, a lot of it's still going to be your mental process still needs improvement, right? Then we start looking at, how do you be efficient? What stages did you time out on? What positions are giving you problems? And then we'll start looking at that. Now we have to prioritize those things, right? We want to keep the strengths, and we want to improve the weaknesses. And I think this guy, honestly, I'm thinking of like a 3-month timetable, where if I can give him this list and say, these are the areas I think that you're struggling, these are where you're losing points, this is where you're hemorrhaging, I think 3 months, we're going to see this guy win his first match. That's what I think. If he's dedicated to fixing the issues, then I think we can win. That's what I'm going.
Especially if it doesn't seem like, especially if it's not necessarily a skill issue, right? It's a mental issue. And giving him those tools, honestly, is pretty easy. He just has to take the tools that you give him and put them in place in practice.
Yeah, we just, you know, the big picture is he's losing by 10%. We need to improve on that and close that gap, right? Now, on one side of the picture, he's telling me that he's losing to the winner by 10%. And we want to close that gap. And I get that, right? But on the other side of it, I'm still looking at his hit percentage for the overall match, right? For me, it's not enough just to beat the guy who wins. For me, I want to look at, this match was 85 points and I scored a 60. Why did I drop 25 points? I don't care about the winner as much as I care about, why did I drop 25 points? If you focus on overall improvement less than catching the guy who wins, you're going to beat that guy, right? And you're going to beat him
I'm
badly.
gonna cut you off there. I got my PT here.
Oh my God.
I know. Well, we're gonna touch base tonight.
Yep, we're gonna jump back on here tonight. We're gonna record our next 2 episodes, man.
All right, we'll
Look
talk
at that
soon.
guy in the
Great
back. He's
episode.
breaking into your
I
car.
know, he's just fucking stealing my shit.
Oh my gosh. All right, dude.
All right,
It was a
brother.
good
Good
combo.
to talk to you.
I appreciate it. I'll talk to you later, man.